Hello everyone, this is Caroline, and today is the Healers Program Series, class number 5. If this is the first time you are joining, make sure you have already taken class 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to begin with the today's program. The most important theme of this whole course is to really understand how the blocks are created. Because if you understand how the blocks are created, then you will know how to release them, how to reverse them completely, permanently. I sent you a sample healer's agreement, and I hope you've had a chance to review it. But you will see how important this document is going to be as we continue to move into more into this class. You will see the relevance, and you will see how it's going to continue to change. I'm gonna cover very quickly again the reason why we need many tools. We're going to do some remote healing, which is a lot of fun, and we're going to talk about what's important to be aware of when we do remote healing, and we're going to do a lot of practice. So hopefully today we will have more time to answer questions. Make sure as I speak you write down some of the questions that are coming up for you, so that when after I finish the talk today, we will do some question and answers, and then we will do practice rounds, meaning we're going to practice on each other. Since we are learning remote healing, then we can be practicing on each other even though we're all from different parts of the planet. All right, so moving right along, we said last time that the Omnium method is not about doing anything. If anything, it's about undoing, because we come in and we add information onto the cell, into the cell that wasn't there. We add the information from accumulated belief systems or emotions, negative emotions, and we add information as we grow older. So the idea is not to continue adding anything, but rather to take out these things, this information that we've added. And of course there are many different ways. I covered this last time, but the reason why I want to briefly cover it again is just for you to understand, because sometimes I get emails, people ask me, well, if we can heal ourselves, why do we have to learn all this stuff, and why can't it all work just the same for everyone? Well, the thing is this: imagine that you are a computer, like a brand new computer, you're the latest model. So you have all the software, you have the best operating system, you have everything that knows how to work, you even have an antivirus system that works there as well. But the thing is, the fact that you come with all this information, with a great operating system, it does not mean that you know how to use it. And it does not mean that you know how to use it for different things. So the basic programming, of course, knows how to repair itself, knows how to apply itself in different things, but you are the one who has to tell the computer, you have to tell the computer that you want it to work this way under these circumstances. You want this software to do this under these other circumstances. You want to be able to do other things that were not originally in the computer or in the original software. So you have to continuously take charge of this operating system and manage it. You have to reconfigure it, and you have to adjust it to your individual needs. And if you really did that, you will realize that there are many things that do not require the same thing. In other words, confusion, the fact that everybody has some confusion or everybody has anxiety blocks, does not mean that everybody can undo this block using intent. In one particular case, I'm going to look at the confusion block in one person, and I'm going to use color, because I will know that the best way to reverse this particular block, if I really tune in, I understand that the best way is color. But for somebody else, or even the next day, or even an hour later, it's going to be geometry or sound. So you see, it's not a one-size-fits all. It's not just one tool that works all the time. Sometimes people say, oh, if you use gold color, color is really healing. It's you can just clear everything. I don't agree, because gold color is quite strong, and sometimes it doesn't really work for children. It doesn't really work for somebody who's very, very sick, for example. And so that's why what you are learning here is a set of tools. And what happens is that you are inputting right now, you're still in a stage, you're inputting all this information, all this software in your computer, and so that eventually you will just go on automatic. You will not have to you are training your computer to respond to different cases, so you'll have very little to do. And so that's why we're still now at the very first tool, which is asking and intending. We clarified that asking has a very specific purpose. You're not just asking in general, you are specifically asking the aspect of your consciousness that is mind energy, that is what we call consciousness. You're asking it to receive guidance so that your physical brain can then direct the intent or the healing signal, so to speak, to wherever you need it. And so also, I said that ask and intend is a formula. It's not just asking in general. It is charged with a frequency that is 1,000 hertz. And 1,000 hertz, we have talked about this frequency being extremely powerful, extremely precise, and allowing you to raise your vibration to this level so that you can be in contact with the root cause and all of the information behind the problem that you are dealing with. So let's clarify a little bit more about asking and intending. I found that this tool is very, very powerful because it allows you to verbalize the block. And, it's kind of like, it's not the same thing as somebody who's alcoholic, who has a problem, to understand that they are. It's a different story when they get up in front of everyone and they say, hi, my name is Jim and I am an alcoholic. The healing starts to happen as they make an effort to verbalize. When you verbalize it, it's as if you are bringing it up to the front, to the conscious, to a very conscious level, and the healing becomes much, much more powerful for you. Also, I find that asking and intending is very, very appropriate because people, or clients anyway, can finally become aware of the root cause. I have people who work on a particular issue, a particular block, for years and years and years. And then they do this one session with me, for example, and I tell them, well, the root cause of this particular problem is this, whatever it is, right? Is that at age 2, this happened. And because I specifically explained very clearly using the English language, or language anyway, it is exactly at that time that this client is totally ready to let go of the problem. This means that you would find people who will hold on to a block for years and years and years. They will not let it go until they understand why. You see? And so that's why they really need to know the reason. In this case, asking and intending, and them saying it is very, very powerful. Also, the client feels empowered to say themselves what they want. When they say, I want this, or I ask and intend, when they say it themselves, it's a lot more empowering than somebody else kind of creating this intent for them. If you notice, sometimes I say, okay, repeat after me, I ask and intend, But then I say, okay, well, now you decide, you set your own new belief system. And that's exactly what you're doing. Is very, very empowering. Also, Ask and Intend uses mind energy in a very unique way. Like I said, this is a formula that I created. It's kind of on a subliminal level. It's doing something else. It is reorganizing your mind channels in a particular way. It's kind of reconfiguring the way your mind channels are used to being, or are used to kind of being aligned, and keeping them aligned in this very strong 1,000 hertz in the alignment of source. So there's something else that's happening when you say Ask and Intend that you may not be aware of. So that's why I feel that this technique, it may sound very simplistic, but it's actually quite important and powerful. Of course, there's some problems sometimes when people don't understand the language. So we talked about that. I believe somebody asked that question last time. And sometimes, you know, when it's not their native language, they may be making an extra effort to understand what you are really saying, or, you know, so this could be a bit of a problem. Or also sometimes some clients have a block, you know, instead of feeling, they start to listen to what you're telling them, and they get stuck into this, in the semantics of the whole healing process, and they're not just allowing themselves to they're not letting go just because of that. And so that's why some clients may feel that it's too wordy, it's too much in their head, they stay in their head and not in their heart. So that's a bit of a problem. And finally, for me, sometimes I notice when I am training some of you guys and you are trying to do this work, sometimes I see that you get a little bit confused with the using the appropriate choice of words. For example, you know, do you say confusion, or you say, or for example, is it frustration, or is it anger, or is it resentment? I mean, some of these feelings, some of them could be very close to each other, and to use the exact appropriate word could be a little bit confusing, and then this may take you into your own head and out of your heart center as the healer, the facilitator. So this could be a bit of a challenge. So that's why you will see the pros and cons of this technique, but to me it's still a very, very important tool, and I will use it as often as possible. So now let's talk about leading the healing session. What really needs to happen? In this order, or as much as possible. Here we are waiting for the first client. We want to make sure that first, of course, we allow the client to explain the issue, to explain what's going on in their mind from their perspective. And then we are going to explain, me as a facilitator, I'm going to explain, okay, briefly what I'm going to do. We're going to do a connection to raise the vibration. We're going to go to the root cause to make sure, because you see, as you begin to explain, just remember, the more clarity you bring to the client, the more healing you're doing. The reason why this client is there is because they don't have clarity. That's why I'm saying, if you bring clarity, even if it's what you're just explaining, they could have a major aha moment if you're simply saying, we're going to raise your vibration with this connection, you see. So I think it's very important that you share a little bit of what you're going to do, however, without being too technical, because then when you merge with the client's spirit self, you don't want to say, okay, now I'm going to merge with your spirit self, and you have to be at 734, and all of these things become too technical. So make sure that you don't get stuck in that, and also the client doesn't get too focused on these details. Then we're going to lead the connecting to source, the connection to source. And for those who don't know it by heart, by now you should go back to the website and do it as often as you can, so that you can have your own version of it and get comfortable with it. And then, of course, we're going to retrieve the first block through the feeling. We said that It is through the feeling that we're going to begin to really understand what's going on, going to the root cause, and then we're going to release through ask and intend, and then repeat, and so on and so forth. So this is how the healing session should be laid out. Again, as clear as possible. And okay, let me see here. I think I missed a slide. Let's talk about remote healing. Excuse me, I think I missed a slide. Whoops. One second, please. Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I'm just going to continue here. All right. So we're going to then do a little bit of remote healing, right? So what happens when you are in a remote situation, just like we are today, actually? And here you are somewhere in Europe. We're going to put you in the Netherlands, although it appears that you're in Spain somewhere. You're down here on the screen. This is you, and you are the facilitator. And then here comes your client on the other side of the screen, and he's calling you from Alaska. Remember Bob? Well, here's Bob. And so you have between you an entire, of course, you have thousands of miles. And what happens is you can see the Earth is covered by a grid system. Those hexagons that you see are what we call the grid system. For those who have taken the Mastering the Human Mind, know what I'm talking about. We're going to go a little bit more into that in the next slide. But it is just to give you a sense that it's not just physical distance, but there is a matrix that is separating you from these other person on the other side of the planet. And so what happens is, if we looked inside this matrix, inside the Earth grid, it looks something like this. So here you are again on one side of the planet, and then here's Bob. And inside that grid system, you're going to find 3 grid systems that are all interconnected. Of course, this is a 2D picture, so, just try to use your imagination. That there are 3 systems, 3 grids. I colored them one in a green, and that is the time-space continuum, time-space grid. There is a red one, which is the communication system, and then there's a blue one, which is the transportation grid system. This means that these 3 grids are interconnected and form one big grid. And we live inside that grid. So here we are trying to communicate from one part of the planet to another, just like I'm doing with you right now. And so if you understand that there is this grid system that is laid out this way, then you can be a little bit clearer and a little bit more specific. And as you are directing your intent, as you are trying to send your signal across the other side. So you can, for example, use the communication grid system. That's why I use a red arrow. And very specifically, imagine that you have created a tunnel. In fact, all these grid systems look like tunnels. You know how you hear people say, those who have near-death experiences, they say they see a tunnel of light. There is actually a tunnel. All of these grid lines are tunnels. And so, but you want to use the right tunnel. You don't want to use the one that takes you somewhere else. And in this particular case, you can use the grid, the communication grid system, and send your signal this way. And so all of this is done certainly by intent. You're not going to know exactly from where you are, from your physical location. You're not going to know exactly which direction it is. You're going to sense. But if you just set your intent that you're going to communicate through, or you're going to connect with your client through the communication system, then that's exactly what happens. You can also use the time-space system, time-space continuum grid system. And the way this works is that all of these grid systems are connected by 0 points. You see these dark spots at each corner. You see it says threefold vortex 0 point. Threefold, or this one says twofold vortex 0 point. This means that this vortex 0 point is where two grid systems interconnect. It's like in a subway station where two major lines connect. It's kind of like that. And so if you find yourself in one of these 0 points, then you connect to all of the 0 points. That's the more we advance in this, we're going to talk about 0 point. It's extremely important to understand what 0 point really is. But now, for the purpose of this class and in the terms of healing or communication anyway, if you connect with one 0 point, it's almost like a Russian doll. All of the other 0 point line up automatically, and you can connect to any point, any place on the planet just by you doing that. So you see, you point yourself in the first 0 point, and all of the 0 points line up, and you have instant connection with your client. Okay? So these are two different ways that you can connect with someone long distance. And once you are connected, then of course the pathways are very clear. But again, you are not sure which 0 point needs to go. I mean, you're not quite sure. All you have to do is through intent, you will sense if you should be using the time-space continuum or the grid communication system. So this is the second option, remote viewing. And I say remote viewing, it's the same thing, because that's the purpose, the process of remote viewing, which is the same as remote healing. I mean, to receive remote healing. So what are the pros and cons? Okay, the pros, it's very practical, it's very convenient. Of course, you can sit in your home and do this work. And of course, it's just as effective. It works exactly the same way as if you were doing the session in person. You are transcending time and space. This means that you have instant connection, instant effect, instant results. It is really, really exactly the same way as if you were in the presence of the healer. Of course, there's some little things to watch out for, one of which is interference. I'm going to show you how that works in just a sec. And also, some people have a little bit of a block and with the long distance thing, and they have a belief system that if you are working long distance, then it's not going to be as powerful because you are far away. They cannot really feel you or sense you, or sometimes people feel that they need even the contact, the physical contact or the touch of the healer to allow themselves to really experience the healing. So these are the general pros and cons of this healing, but I want to show you a little bit about interference, and that's the only thing that you really should be aware of. So this is how it works again. Let's pretend you are trying to connect with Bob on the other side of the planet, and you are setting your intent, and you are, even though you have created a sacred space, you see there's so much distance between you and Bob, and you are not the only one, kind of floating around in this space. So you send out your signal, but then here comes another energy that can see your signal from somewhere else, and it's kind of a strange looking energy, but it kind of positions itself right in the middle of your signal. That's called interference. Needless to say, even though you have set your intent and you have said very clearly, I want to be in a sacred space and I want no interference or what have you, but that's why we call it interference. It's because these beings are not really caring of your free will. In fact, they are not respecting your free will. and it's an infringement of free will. Therefore, we call it interference. So that's why they're not really going to pay attention to your prayers, unfortunately. And they are floating around everywhere. They're not necessarily in your physical space. They could be, but they're going to do whatever they want. And so, unfortunately, sometimes it's not just one, but there's a couple or two or three that are floating around and interfering with the signal that you are trying to send. And so before you know it, you are trying to send the healing and receive information. Especially you're trying to receive the information from your client so that you can do the healing. But what happens instead is, because of this interference, the signal gets chopped up. It becomes not so clear, and so the information that you receive is not so clear. The information that you send is not so clear. I can already hear all your questions about this. This is a very big topic. Unfortunately, it happens all the time, and that's why I am telling you that whether you are aware of it or not, these beings are floating around, and they will do whatever they want. So, like I said, just type in prepare your questions. I will answer as soon as I'm done with this little talk. We're almost done, actually. Okay. So here's the long distance things to watch out for. But we're going to pretend it's not there for now, and we're going to review very quickly how it works. Visually, I prepared this for you so you can also, so it will help you be in charge, remember these things, these details better. So here you are sitting in your sacred space, and here's Bob. First thing, we're going to allow Bob to tell us what the problem is. He will say, I have problems with my hand. He's not going to tell you that at 3 years old he's got this trauma or that trauma. He's going to come to you with his current issue. All right? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to make sure that your vibration is high. You are connected to your own spirit self. You are not projecting your own human mind perception of the problem. You're not going to say you are overworked, you are overweight, or what have you. You're going to make sure you are being guided from the higher perspective of your being. And then once you're ready, you're going to make sure that your agreement is set. That's why I put it behind you. This is something, the homework that you already have done. The main point is that you're going to feel the information. You're going to allow your heart to be the guidance system, and everything you're going to feel is about the client. And your third important goal is not just to make him feel better, but to go to the root cause so that you can help him remove this problem permanently. Once you are clear and ready to go, then you will connect with the client in the spirit self aspect of the client, and not just necessarily his hand, not necessarily what you think it is, only his spirit self, to make sure you are tuning into the root cause. Then you will bring the connection to source. You see how it's all coming together. Now that you have established the connection, you have in your background the system, the retrieval system, the guidance system working, then you begin to feel. I feel anxiety, for example. Your agreement says it's not about you, it's about Bob. Therefore, you know that it's Bob that's feeling the anxiety. You sense that the anxiety is in the stomach area, in your stomach area. Therefore, it's Bob's stomach area. So you will tell Bob, I ask and intend, repeat after me, to release my anxiety from my stomach. Because you felt it, then you can tell him. And of course, that's what Bob is going to do. He will repeat after you. He will point his arrow, his mind channel to the same area, and you will see that there are two of you, there are two signals coming to that area, and the healing will begin very, very fast. Then you go to the next feeling. The next feeling is fear. You have a sense of fear about the future, or some sort of fear. Once you are clear about that, then you feel it, it's somewhere in your legs or in your knees or somewhere. And if you're not sure exactly where it is in the body, then you don't have to say, focus on this part of your body. You just say, ask and intend to release my fear of the future or what have you. And Bob does the same thing. He sends his signal along with yours, and so on and so forth. And at the end, you keep going this way. You will, between each time, of course, you will be breathing in and out until you feel that you are done. All right, so this is a recap of the way you lead this session, but we're going to go ahead right now. I wanted to, like I said, in this session, leave as much time for the questions and practice. That's why I'm going to stop right here and begin to take your questions. All right, so question about, let me see. Somebody's asking about the cross of the grid system. Why do you call a crossed grid of two different grid lines, say communication and transportation, a threefold vortex? Is there yet another grid that you are not counting underneath? No, this is the way this drawing is. The fact that I just said is threefold, it's not because it is connecting to the communication and time space. This is just a 2D drawing to give you an example, an idea that some vortex points are connecting with the three grid systems at the same time, and some are connected with two. So this is just an example. It's not real the way it's not saying that we forgot something. All right, come on folks, this is the time to ask questions so that we have plenty of time to practice. I'm not sure, France, did you have a question? Your hand is up. No? Okay, I guess not. All right, who's got some questions? Okay, Kim, go ahead.
It's interesting that you brought up interference pretty early in the course, so I would suspect that it happens quite often. How would you know, as you're healing someone, that indeed is happening? And I don't know if asking why is a good reason, but what are the techniques you use to get rid of it, or do you just drop the session?
Yeah, again, the more you do this work, the more sensitive you will become and clear. You will become clearer and clearer. And that's why I'm bringing these things up for you, because what happens is that all you know, if you weren't aware of these things, is that your signal is not clear, or you're not quite sure, you're quite confused about what's going on. You're not receiving a clear signal, but you're not understanding why. But what I'm saying is, now that you know that this could be happening, then you could specifically be aware of that, and first of all, be more specific about your asking to create the sacred space. There's a specific formula that I will teach you more down the road, but again, sometimes it's these beings are quite persistent, but normally if you bring the consciousness of creator, because as I said, this is breaching the universal laws. You see, you are supposed to all be part of the earth grid. We're supposed to be within the earth plane, within our sacred space. And when you say, I want to be in a sacred space, there is it's like an international law, so to speak. It's a universal agreement that if I say I want nobody to enter my sacred space, then it is so, period. But like I said, because there has been so much damage and disruption on the planet, there are beings who are not really listening to these laws. So, but when you say, Christ energy or creator energy, you want that to be present around you. It's almost like they have to respond. It's like you're bringing the big I don't know how to verbalize it better than this, but if you simply say, I am commanding the creator energy and Christ energy to eradicate these entities, this information, this interference, normally it goes away. And so, like I said, with time you will get clearer and you will know. So, but how do you deal with it? If it's really, really bad, normally, like I said, it will go away once you've done that. But if it persists, it depends. If it's really bad, maybe it is a good idea that you do the session some other time. But at least normally, if you called on Creator and Christ consciousness to take over, so to speak, or to handle it for you, and also the Archangel energy is very much specific for that. Usually for interference, that's what Archangel energy does. Then normally you can still do the session and be perfectly fine. And by the way, having said that, the fact that there's interference, it doesn't mean that there's harm. It just means that there's interference. It's like somebody's playing with the phone lines, that's all. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get hurt. And so that's why, you don't have to worry about it. It's just a little bit of an inconvenience that you have to think about. Okay, go ahead, Laura. What's your question?
Well, one of my questions was about how to protect yourself from and protect your clients and stop the interference. But I have another question that came up earlier when you talked about Bob's knee.
Yes.
How do we know, for example, it's one knee and not the other, and not maybe both knees? And if it is both knees, do we deal with them at the same time, or do we do two separate sessions asking on intending for each knee?
Yeah, very good. So the idea is you're using your body, remember? You're using yourself. The agreement says that as soon as I have this connection, everything I'm going to feel is about Bob. So I'm going to feel the pain in my knee. So if I feel it in my right knee, I'm going to say, I ask and intend to release my fear of the future from my right knee. If I feel it in my left knee, then that's what I'm going to say. If I feel it in both knees, then I will say from both knees. You see, that's how you're using your body to understand what's going on. Now, having said that, some people, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. The fact that you're using your body doesn't mean you're taking anything on. You're not taking Bob's energy or problems, because there's a lot of, actually, there are some teachings out there, or people who believe that you take on the person's problem, so that's how they get relieved. I don't agree with that. And I don't think it should be done this way, and I don't think it's necessary. You're simply allowing this connection to allow you kind of to feel exactly where the problem is, and to have this clarity. You're using your body as the sensor, and that's it. Okay, so that's how you know. Very good. All right, let me see who else. Let's hear it from Pierrette. Go ahead, Pierrette, your question. Okay, speak up, please.
Bob, do you understand me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Does Bob has also to send an arrow? Or is it just me?
No, you can see it. Maybe you don't see it clearly on the screen. Bob has his own arrow, but you are directing your arrow let's say to the stomach or the knee, but then you're letting Bob also. That's why asking intending, when the person is repeating after you, they are pointing their arrow specifically to the stomach or to the knee. So of course he's got an arrow, maybe you don't see it on the screen. And what's the next question?
You also send the arrow.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. All right. John, I already answered your question. You said the interference, how do you know? That's how you know. You will feel it. And now that you understand that this is possible, you can just ask. You will sense. Is this what's happening? And you will get a strong, strong yes. You see, that's why I'm bringing this up for you. Joyce, how do you know you're using the right tunnel? Like I said, through intent, that's what I said earlier. You're not really going to know exactly, okay, how do you position do you point right? Do you point north? Do you point south? You don't know that. It's very difficult, but so therefore you simply intend to use the communication tunnel or the time space. And then you will say, how do you know which one to use? Again, all of these things you will know through your guidance system. You will sense. You will become more and more clearer. You see, this is in another example, a perfect thing that you should add in your contract. You will add in your contract, I want to have, as soon as I begin a long distance session, I want to have immediate clarity as to the best way to approach this remote healing session. If I should be using the time space or the communication tunnel. You see? So that way, all of these things, the more you enter them in your agreement, the faster you will know and you will get used to knowing. Okay, Susan's saying, how do you know if you're getting interference? Okay, I just answered. That's the question of the day. How do you, Jessica saying, by the way, why aren't you using your mics? How do you overcome the interference during remote healing? I just answered that question. Is that part of your healer's contract? Of course, again, like I said, you're going to put that in your contract, obviously, that you want it as safe and clear and as possible. But like I said, this is an infringement of your free will, and therefore that's why we call it interference. And like I said, that's how you deal with it. Go ahead, Marty.
Yes, I'm wondering, we have a client, say for instance, that presents with many blocks. So what would be the best way to end the session comfortably for the client, knowing that there's going to be more to clear next time?
Exactly. That's how at the end I say close the session by setting the intent for the proper unfolding to continue. Because most of the time you're not going to finish, especially if it's their first session, they're going to have, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 more for them to be completely healed or cleared. It depends on what it is. And so, but when you finish in the first hour, you set the intent for the rest of the bubbles. Remember you remember this? If maybe in the first session you're going to do 3 or 4 or 5 bubbles, and you're going to release all these yellow strings and green strings, but then you have all the rest that stays there, and so you intend for the rest of it to continue to unfold. Everything through intent. And make sure, now that you realize that, you put it in your agreement, and you say, I want to make sure that I naturally bring the client to the best place possible by the end of the hour, and that for the healing will continue in a safe and comfortable way. You remember how people say, they have healing crises and stuff like that? Well, you can avoid it by you intending for it not to happen, you see. All of this happens with the agreement. I think you're going to start to see how important this document is. All right, next question. When we see the root cause being a former life, do we use time and space to reach the parallel aspect of the client, or is it still the communication grid that we use? It depends. The fact that you saw that the root cause was a time space, a past life, it doesn't mean necessarily that you are traveling to that lifetime. You see, the time-space grid that you're using here is just for you to communicate with Bob, with your client. It's not necessarily that you're going to find all of Bob's other past and parallel aspects. It's not like you are going there and then there and then there to find the root cause. Everything happens in this connection, in this tunnel. As you're using the time space or the communication to establish the proper connection. Once you establish the proper connection, everything happens inside that tunnel. The information is about this tunnel, inside this tunnel. So if the past life of Bob came to you inside this tunnel, you can erase it inside this tunnel. Now, But what you're asking is something different. I'm going to just slide it in here, even though it's not so relevant. But like, let's say, you know how people say, because this will help you understand more what's going on. You know how some people say they speak with the deceased, you know, people who have passed on or whatever. So there are different ways for me to communicate with somebody that's passed on. If I'm communicating with Bob and Bob is telling me I want to speak to my dead father, for example, once I establish this connection with Bob, even if he's sitting right in front of me, I can speak to his father through the consciousness of Bob, because Bob is connected to his father even though his father is deceased. So I'm still connecting to the father who is not here through the same tunnel and through the consciousness of Bob. You see, this is one way. So this does not mean that the deceased father is there. It means that the information, the consciousness of the father is there, and I'm talking to the deceased father through the connection to Bob. The father is not even, doesn't even know, is not even here, right? So this is one way. And that's how most people do it. Most people who communicate with the dead, so to speak. But I can also, for example, find where is, this is much more difficult, more complicated, because this means that you understand all of the intricate matrices and how reality is all interconnected. I can go find where Bob's deceased father is. He could still be within the earth plane. This is the earth plane. But what if he's already graduated the earth plane? He could be floating around here somewhere, in which case now I'm going to create a new connection with him somewhere else within the earth plane. But what if he's like graduated and now he's on to Mars or another galaxy or something? Then this means that I have to have the ability to direct my consciousness and go way past this earth plane and communicate with him directly that way. You see? So this is a bit of a different topic, but still answering it anyway. All right. John, why aren't you using your mic? All right. When doing a healing session on myself, I sometimes don't know where to start. I just don't feel connected as much as long as I would like. Okay, that's a great question, in fact, because many people, I think somebody started to ask that question last time, is when you don't know, what does it mean? Do you have a mic, John, please, so I can hear your voice? John, can you say hi? Okay, maybe you don't have a voice, a mic. So this is a good thing. I don't know where to start. If you don't know where to start, then what does it mean? You're not clear, right? Or you're confused, okay? So if you're okay, your mic's not working. Okay, so if you are not clear, then that's where you start. You see, that's what I'm saying. As soon as you establish this connection, as soon as you make this, let's say it's the connection with yourself, and you have this agreement, you're going to start to feel something. You have to abide by the agreement. And you're going to feel, if you feel frustrated because you're not getting anything, then that's where you start. You start by saying, I ask and intend to release my frustration that I'm not getting anything. Do you see what I'm saying? If you say, I'm overwhelmed, there's too many emotions, then that's where you start. Make sense? All right, here we go. And see, as you begin to release this lack of clarity or the belief that you're not connected as long or you're not connected as much, then the next belief will start to happen and the next block, the next feeling will show up. Go ahead, Joyce.
Actually, thank you, but you just answered my question.
Okay, very good. All right, let me see who else. Marty, go ahead. Did you have a question, Marty?
Oh, I'm sorry. I put my hand down.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Jean. Go ahead, Jean. What's your question?
I've only worked with myself.
Okay.
So I know in other healings I've done with you in different classes, you always give us replacement wordage. You know, you take this out and then you replace it with other wordage. I want to replace this belief or perception. Do you always want to do that with a client, or do you just want to take something out?
Yes, very good question. Yeah, again, this is one of the things that you're also going to get used to. See, the thing is, the more you practice these tools, the more you will get really, really good at them. And you will kind of start to know exactly how much is necessary at each time. So sometimes the person, or you for that matter, has so much stuff going on, so many emotions. So it's like, it's overboard. So you don't want to start replacing anything. The first thing you want to do is take out, release. And then at one point you're going to feel all of these things. It's like your intuition. You're going to get sharper. You're going to get more precise. You're going to get really, really good at it. And you're going to just feel that you've reached a point where you really need to put something in it instead of it. So, and this usually happens when you've cleared a whole bubble. So you see, inside each bubble, I don't know if you recall how this whole thing started, but this one bubble contains, you see, look, sadness, abandonment, guilt, anxiety, tiny little dots, and each dot represents an emotion. You see? So you are taking out, I ask to release my guilt, I ask to release my anxiety, I ask to release my abandonment. All of these are tiny little dots inside the bubble. So in the beginning, I think you don't have to worry about replacing them with anything. But at one point, you've taken out 3 or 4 or 5 and the bubble cannot hold anymore. The bubble is going to burst. And when you burst an entire bubble, that's a lot of information. It's a huge amount of information that was in your cell. And so when that happens, then you see, if it's as if you took out this whole piece of information. Don't forget, we talked about 60,000 thoughts per day. I only wrote like 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 here, but there's thousands of pieces of information in that cell. And so when you take out one whole bubble, it's thousands and thousands of thoughts that went in there. And when you take out this one bubble, then you feel something is missing. In your body, something is missing, and this is where you're going to feel that you have to replace it with something. All right? And to replace it with what? It's one of those things, again, that you will just know. You will feel that it has to be joy, or it has to be love, or what have you. Okay? Let's see, who else? Otherwise, we're going to start practicing. Henry, do you have your mic now?
Yeah, hello?
Hey, Henry.
Yeah, hello.
What's your question, please?
I type it all.
You typed your question? No, just speak your question.
I'm not working. I'm not hearing you.
Okay, so we can hear you. Just say your question. What is your question?
Okay, my question is, let's say I'm working on myself and to bring all the future aspects of myself into this now.
Yes.
And could the block be interference simply because I'm not properly located, or is the interference being able to disturb this work?
Yes, of course. We're going to talk more about this later on, because I'm showing you here interference when you're located long distance. But, sometimes this interference is in your own space, you see? So, unfortunately, this interference could be here. And even though you're not working with anybody else, you're trying to just do the connection, but it's right there. And so, of course, interference is going to block you from your own healing. That's the idea. But but now that you know that this is possible, then you specifically you look for this and you get it out. That's what I'm saying. And if sometimes you are mentioning geographical location, yes. Sometimes some geographical locations are a lot worse than others. I have students who come, for example, we do a seminar in one area, and it's just so clear, everything's moving, everything's flowing, the connection is instant, very, very powerful stuff is happening. I mean, it's like ongoing for 3 days nonstop. And then these people go back home and they realize that it's much harder to connect where they are. It's much slower. There's constant interference. So of course the geographical location has something to do with it, and your physical space may have something to do with it. So that's why you specifically asked for the removal of this interference. Go ahead, Laura, what's your question?
Yes, I've got a question about remote healing and the temptation that one might have to remote heal members of one's family, for example. And if they don't give a specific permission to do it, or I'll take my mother's case, who doesn't believe in this kind of thing, though, you know, she recently fell and broke ribs and everything. And I wanted to know, what do you do in such a case? Do you not interfere at all if the person hasn't specifically said, please, can you give me a healing?
Yes, of course. That's a very important topic also, about permission. So here's the thing. You put in your contract that you want to help as many people as possible, but you will not interfere. Speaking of interference, you are also interfering with the people's ability to find their own way to heal, you see. So we're all coming from a good place. We're all wanting to help others, but sometimes we're not helping others because people are really needing this particular block to grow, to understand, to master whatever it is that they came here to master. And here you are coming in and just kind of like taking it out. And like I said earlier, sometimes people will not let go of a block, see, remember, until they finally get it. They want to have the aha moment, and then they're ready to let go of this block. And if you come, you know, just like without even telling them, and you take it out, then you almost rob them from this mastery, this experience that they are supposed to be having. Now, having said that, of course, we all know that there are people who really, really need some help. I mean, I'm talking about people who are desperately, really, really stuck, and they really have no way to find their way back. So in this particular case, rather than you doing remote healing and kind of taking things out for them, you can do remote healing and just assist them into seeing clearly what they need to see. That's not the same thing, because you're just helping them have the opportunity to heal themselves rather than you clearing things for them. So I highly recommend, this is another line item, big line item in your contract, say, I am here to help. I will do the best I can to help others, but I will not interfere with other people's ability to heal, infringe on others' free will. Therefore, I will simply know I will have this strong guidance not to interfere. And what's going to happen actually is that when you connect with somebody who does not want to be interfered with, or who does not want the healing, this is another thing. The more you do this work, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel a sense of rejection, like a sense of kind of somebody just closed the door kind of a thing. And you will know, for example, when I first started doing this work, I was working a lot with children who were handicapped. I mean, seriously handicapped. And so these children could not even communicate. So they cannot speak, they can't say what they feel, what they want. And it's their parents who are asking me to help, right? And so, of course, not only that the parents is asking me to help the child, but the child cannot even say whether he wants it or not. So how bad is that? At least your mother can express herself and say, I don't want you to help me, right? So it's really very difficult. In the beginning, I had this whole ethical, issues come up for me. And then I said, very easy. I'm going to put it in my agreement. In my agreement, I am not going to allow myself to do any form of healing. It's not about me just healing people right and left. This becomes ego stuff. You see? So we have to be very careful. We have to really draw the line and make sure it's not about us feeling powerful or us, healing the world. It's really about honoring each person's ability to heal. And so I wrote it in my contract and I said, I will heal. I will do my best. However, I do want a very strong ability to recognition that when this is infringing on the child's free will, I want to know and I will stop. And this started to happen. It is so clear right now when this happens. I don't do these healings anymore anyway, but if this were to happen, I could feel very strongly that the child, for example, turned his back, for example, or simply said, I really don't want this right now, or things like that. You will very strongly get the message that thanks, but no thanks. Okay?
Right, thanks.
Sure. Of course, we want to heal everybody around us, especially our mothers. Go ahead, Stephanie. What's your question? Stephanie? Okay, we can barely hear you. You have to speak up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I get a little bit confused about the communication and time and transportation grid.
Yes.
If I work with a client and just have the intent to merge with him, do I have to choose if I want communication or time or transportation, or is it enough if I just have the intent to merge with him?
Yes, you don't have to have the clarity, but you see, I'm showing you this clarity for you to understand the mechanics. You have so this is the type of technical details that you don't share with your clients. You're not. Can you imagine? You say, okay, well now I'm traveling through the tunnel, and I'm gonna go through the time-space vortex. You don't need to tell anybody. I'm just explaining to you how it's possible to reach someone instantly on the other side of the planet because there is a system in place, a grid system in place. So all you have to do is intend to send the signal in the safest way and the most appropriate way at this point in time, and then do the merging. Like I said, all of this is for your information to understand the mechanics, but it's not necessarily for you to confuse your clients about. Go ahead, Teresa.
Yes, Caroline, my question is about the grid as well. I'm a very visual person and I like to visualize the tunnel. And at one point you had, in reading some of your books, you mentioned there's two grids. There's one that's based on the dodecahedron, which is the older grid, and the new hexagon grid.
Yes.
Which one do we just intend for the most optimal path or the most optimal grid? Because as you mentioned, the hexagrid is not going to be in place until the fall of this year. Or
you've done your homework.
So I'm not exactly sure which one to kind of visualize, or will I be guided, or do I just intend?
Yes, of course. And somebody in Haiti just asking the question also, do I need to necessarily visualize the arrow even going through? So like I said, you guys, this is just to allow you to understand how things really travel. For example, this is really not part of this class, but the transport grid is what allows you to enter the human form when you travel, when you come from somewhere else. So this grid system works for different things, and so I'm just showing you. In fact, for those who have not read the book, my books, or done the class Mastering the Human Mind class, all of this, the details of that, the grid system, all of that is in the book. So you should go back and get more information on that. But in the scope of this class and for the purpose of remote healing, I just wanted to explain to you that there is a grid system that allows you to travel this way. And but for you to worry about, should I do this one or that one, this is something you would put in your contract so that everything becomes automatic. When you're ready to go, you just say, just show me the safest, best way for this particular situation. So Bob happens to be in Alaska, but then if you are connecting with somebody in Africa, for example, maybe in that particular case, time space is better, but you're not going to start worrying about that. Like I said, the idea is you input all of the information in your contract so that once you begin, you're on automatic. You set your intent and off you go. You barely even think about it, okay? Heidi, the same thing. You don't have to visualize the arrow going, you just intend it. Okay, Georgia is saying, I did a lot of clearing on myself these last week, and I had some unpleasant physical symptoms. Is there a healing crisis, and how much time is needed? Again, I don't think there is a healing crisis at all. In fact, the reason why you're doing this, one of the reasons that I'm showing you these things is that when you are following, when you're saying, I want to go to the root cause, this system will allow you to go to to take out, like I said, remember last time, the domino piece that will trigger the unfolding of all of the other strings and all of the other bubbles in a safe and comfortable way. What could have happened is that you simply did it too fast. But I have to say that I think you're ready. I think you're just not used to having so much information in such a short period of time. I recommend, I'm just looking at you right now. So you need to drink more water and allow your body to just take a break between things. The unfolding is just way too cramped. You're not letting your body, but you're really, really dehydrated. Seriously. You have to drink a lot of water, and water will help with the dissolving of more things. Okay, we need to start practicing now. So before the session is up. So what we're going to do is do exactly that. We're going to practice remote healing, since we are all from different parts of the planet. And we're going to practice on someone. So I'd like a volunteer. Who would like to volunteer? I'd like you to type in, the fastest person who would who will type in will be the first volunteer. All right? Okay. So all right. So Henry was the fastest, and then okay, let's begin with Henry. So Henry, you have to be on speaker, you have to be on the microphone. And Henry is our client. We are all playing the role of the healer, all right? And so we are going to ask, just for fun, it doesn't really matter. We're going to ask Henry what the problem is. We're going to listen to what the client has to tell us. Then we're going to close our eyes. We're going to focus on our own higher self. And we're going to begin to make sure that we are clear on our agreement. All of this happens in split seconds, of course. And then when we feel totally ready, then we're going to merge with the consciousness of Henry, and we're going to retrieve the root cause, only the root cause of his problem. And as we begin to feel whatever it is, we're going to say, I ask and intend to release whatever, and allow him to release it. But the way we're going to do this is, because there's so many of us, we're going to first retrieve the root cause and begin to share the first couple of feelings that we have. Then we're going to ask him to release it that way. All right, so Henry, you ready? I will guide you through it, guys, don't worry. So Henry, you are the client. Tell us what the problem is.
My problem is, can I just choose something?
Well, you must have a problem. What is your biggest problem right now?
Biggest problem, what could be that? I have a tightness in my heart.
Very good. Very good. All right, so the client is telling us that he's got a tightness in his heart, okay? Now, we're not going to use our head. We're going to, we don't even know. And where are you located, Henry, just for fun?
I'm in Berlin.
Belgium?
Nee, in Berlin.
Berlin. Okay, Berlin. Okay. Very good. So I'm going to guide you guys. Henry, we just want you to relax and do nothing. So everyone else on the call, close your eyes and breathe in and exhale. When you exhale, quiet your mind. Just relax. Go to your heart center. We're going to assume that we've already done our own connection. And we're going to breathe in, exhale, 360 degrees, expand into our spirit self. And as you feel perfectly merge with your own spirit self, set your intent to now retrieve the root cause of the tightness in the chest for Henry. We're going to assume that we've done the connecting to source. Right now, we just want to practice retrieving the information and releasing so that we can begin to feel. So breathe in. As you exhale, imagine that there is a tunnel that you are creating from your sacred space. It doesn't matter which grid system it's using. We're asking for the best one that's most appropriate at this time. And imagine this tunnel now connecting you from wherever you are, traveling through the earth grid and landing exactly where Henry is at this time. As you establish this connection, now breathe in. As you exhale, imagine that you are expanding your own spirit self. You open up the spirit self, just like you saw in a drawing, in the slide. And now you merge, you wrap yourself around the spirit self. You merge with the spirit self only of Henry. As you establish this connection, go to your heart center. And now when you ask, what is the root cause, or lead me to the root cause, what do you begin to feel in your heart? As you begin to feel something, type it in. What is the strongest feeling? So there's anxiety, there's sadness, lots of sadness, disappointment, hurt, emotional hurt, isolation. Very good. So there's all loss, of course, a lot of sadness, huge sadness. Okay, so now we're going to begin with that. There's more than one, obviously. So when this happens, we're gonna focus on the biggest one. Let's say there's a lot of clutter there too, but let's take sadness because there's quite a bit of that. And we're going to say, and it's in the heart, we feel it in the heart. So then as I feel very, very strongly this sadness, there's also anxiety, but we'll start with that. I'm going to tell the client, repeat after me, Henry, focusing on your heart. Say, I ask and intend
I ask and intend
to release my deep, deep sadness
to release my deep, deep sadness
from every cell in my heart
from every cell in my heart
and my throat
and my throat
and my lungs.
and my lungs.
Breathe in through the nose, deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Much better. Tell me about your father, Henry.
My father is deceased.
Yes.
2009 was that, yeah?
Very recent, yeah. 2009 is not.
exactly.
Yes.
In August.
Yes.
And yeah, we have a very strong connection.
Uh-huh.
At the same time, as I awakened, as I was starting with my awakening process, it was also a block because my father is very Catholic and all of that. You know?
Yes, yes. But your father is occupying your chest area, so so we're gonna release his frequency, you guys. I will help you with this. So I'm just gonna facilitate that. So I want you to repeat after me. I ask and intend
I ask and intend
to release my father's frequency
to release my father's frequency
from every cell in my heart
from every cell in my heart
and my chest
and my chest
and my throat
and my throat
and my throat.
and my throat.
Very nice. Very nice. Breathe in through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Very nice. All right. Now allow this energy to continue to unfold. And as we've just taken out another big bubble, wait, and now go to your heart and please tell me what we need to release right now. What you feel is what needs to happen. Henry, just allow.
My relocation.
Wait, Henry, 1 second. What are you feeling? Tired? Not being able to speak? A lot in the throat. Anxiety about what? Not being able to release his emotions about his father. What else? Go ahead, Laura. Being alone, yes. Fear of speaking his truth. Yes, again, the anxiety, the fear, everything in his throat is about expressing himself, about where to, who also saw he doesn't know where he's going. There's no direction in life. And so it is all connected with his unfinished business with his father. The father was still connected to his chest and his heart, and he was blocking him from moving forward. This is what he explained to us earlier. But guess what? The father is not even here anymore. But Henry is still holding on to the fear of moving forward and the block that the father had on him or was responsible for, you know, but the father is not there anymore. So you see that it's one bubble after another. And now we need to, Henry's unable to express himself. There's a huge thing in his throat. He doesn't know what to do with his life, where to move, who to be, what to be. So go ahead, Henry, repeat after me. I ask and intend
I ask and intend
to release my deep sense of anxiety
to release my deep sense of anxiety
and lack of direction
and lack of direction
and purpose in my life.
and purpose in my life.
I am asking now to resolve once and for all
I'm asking now to resolve one and for
all the experiences related to the loss of my father
all the experiences related to the loss of my dad
and replace it with a new energy
and replace it with a new energy
of clarity
of clarity
and joy
and joy
and a sense of adventure about life.
and a sense of adventure about life.
Breathe in and exhale. How are you feeling right now?
Quite better, I can say it.
Great. Much better. Very good. All right, we're going to stop here, Henry, because we want to move on to someone else. But you guys, you see, we are intending, at the end, of course, his father's approval. We're going to intend for the healing to unfold. As you can see, I set the intent for him to let go of the rest, whatever is left over from that thing with his father, and to replace it with a new energy that will move him forward. And now he can be in a decent place so that he can we can finish, the mini session now. All right, who's the next person to volunteer? Okay, come on, you guys. Let's see, we had a bunch of people earlier. Type in, the next person that types in will be it. Volunteer. Let's work on Jean. All right, Jean. Jean,
Oh.
hi, hello. Please let us know.
Hi.
We have a new client, folks. These are mini sessions. So, Jean, tell us what the problem is and where you're located.
I'm in Santa Barbara, California,
Okay.
and I want to, I think, be a stained glass artist, and I have danced around it for, believe it or not, about 30 years. And I'd like to look at my inability to really commit to this.
Okay, so it's a career decision. Jean is stuck, so we're gonna do the same thing and see really the root cause. You said 30 years?
Yeah, I started doing it when I was about 17, and I have danced around it and come to it and left it and come to it. And I can create very beautiful things.
Okay.
I get stuck with the marketing and the getting it out there.
Okay, very good. All right, so okay, folks, here we go. Sit up straight. And if you have client after client, of course, this is just practice, but it will be also if you have many clients, you want to also intend, put it in your contract, that when you're done with one client, the entire frequency of that client is erased. It's done. Otherwise, you're going to be quite confused. So put it in your contract. Sit up straight, close your eyes, breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Go to your heart and ask and intend to Go back, set a clean slate, begin with a clean slate with this new client in your heart center. And as you breathe in, exhale, imagine that you are creating a light tunnel from your geographical location. And it doesn't matter which grid system, the most appropriate grid system, the fastest, safest to arrive to Jean's place in Santa Barbara, California. And as we land there, and we feel perfectly connected, then we now expand our own spirit self aspect and merge with Jean's higher self to retrieve the root cause of this issue. Breathe in, exhale, in your heart center, whatever you begin to feel is about the root cause of this problem. And as you begin to feel, if you can identify what you're feeling, then that is about the client. What do you feel? Poverty consciousness, backholding, fear of love, fear of opening, lack, despair, sadness. Again, the belief that her work cannot generate income, so the fear, the work is not enough. Very good. Emptiness. Cannot see clearly. Frustration. Fear. Okay, so it's pretty much fear. It's fear. And fear of not being good enough. And the way I see you, also, Jean, is that I see you really like holding your hands around your chest, like you making yourself small, like you are holding yourself. You're afraid to just kind of just jump in, you know. But what's interesting is that there's nothing around you that's holding you back. There's no one. It's your own belief system that you are small, that you don't count, you're not going to count, or that your work is not so impactful, or it's not going to do anything. And so we're going to begin with that, Jean, and we're going to address first the fear. All right, so repeat after me. I ask and intend.
I ask and intend
to release my fear.
To release my fear.
Of expanding myself.
Of expanding myself.
I ask and intend.
I ask and intend.
To release the belief system.
To release the belief system.
That I am small.
That I am small.
That I don't count.
That I don't count.
That I will always be small.
That I will always be small.
No matter what I do.
No matter what I do.
I am now choosing.
I am now choosing.
To become aware of this belief system.
To become aware of this belief system.
That is my own.
That is my own.
I am going to own it.
I am going to own it.
Look at it.
look at it,
and finally let go of it.
and finally let go of it.
I ask and intend
I ask and intend
to release my belief
to release my belief
and my need to hold on to this belief
and my need to hold on to this belief
that no matter what I do,
that no matter what I do,
it will be small,
it will be small,
and that the Creator
and that the Creator
will never notice me anyway.
will never notice me anyway.
I am choosing to let go
I am choosing to let go
of this belief system
of this belief system
once and for all.
once and for all,
From every aspect, every cell of my body.
from every cell of my body,
And replace it with a new belief
and replace it with a new belief
that I carry a unique energy
carry a unique energy
that I'm ready to explore now.
that I am ready to explore now.
And so I choose joy
And so I choose joy
and a sense of excitement and adventure.
and a sense of excitement and adventure.
And so it is. Breathe in through the nose
And so it is.
and exhale. All right, my dear, how are you feeling?
Shaky.
Yeah?
Shaky.
Shaky in what sense?
Shaky, just
Stuff
kind
going
of.
through? I took
Yeah.
out a bunch of stuff there, my dear. Tons of bubbles. Like 3 or 4 or 5 bubbles in one shot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to intend, we put in the new intent for her to continue unfolding the rest of this whole story. So it's already time for the end, but I'm going to do one more. For those who are in a rush and need to go, then go ahead and go. If not, if you can stay, then we're going to do one more person. And for more practice. So Kim had, and of course we're going to do a lot more of these as we continue to move forward in this class. So Kim, you're on the air. What is the problem?
This will be a little different in that it's a problem for a family member.
Okay, that could be a good exercise. Let's see, since somebody said, can I heal other people? We will see if this person really wants to be healed. So tell us, this is a good practice, tell us who it is and what the problem is, and then we'll tell you.
Okay. The person is my son. He suffers from chronic migraines. He actually has clusters of them. They come and go. But he also has problems with his digestive system, resulting in he's very skinny. He's 6'4" and 145 pounds. Very skinny. He also has a lot of problems with infections. He recently had a strange resistant staph infection and thrush, all indications of a compromised immune system. Various friends as well as I have tried to connect with him. Sometimes he wants to allow people to connect with him, sometimes he does not.
So-
This would be energetically,
Okay,
not in person.
So we're going to find out exactly how this works, and we will know if this person who is not aware, if they really wish to receive healing or not. But it sounds like he's got many problems. So now this is another thing that you could be getting from a client where they're telling you many things at the same time. And so how do you deal with this? The best way is the person is obviously not clear as to what is the most important or dominant problem in this case. So you will have to figure it out. So you put it in your contract that when the client presents too many issues at the same time, I will have the clarity to pinpoint the most important one automatically. Okay? So we heard enough, even though it's not quite clear, but we're going to merge. Now, what is his name?
Dylan,
Dylan, and where is he located?
Northern California.
Okay, very good. So let's go back. Somebody's asking how old he is. Does it really matter? But we can ask anyway. How old is he?
He's about to be 20.
20. Very good. Okay. So everybody go back, sit back, close your eyes. In the contract it says, when I switch to another client, I begin with a clean slate. The previous client's frequency is gone, is completely erased. Breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Go to your heart center. One more time. Merge with our spirit self. And begin to imagine a tunnel of light going from your geographical location to wherever Dylan is at this time, Northern California. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to be very specific, because what's happening is you are tuning into his consciousness through his mother. Through your intent, you will know exactly which tunnel to travel through, and intend for you to just be there. Once you are there and you are in a safe space, begin to open your energy field. Extend only the spirit self aspect of your energy field and wrap yourself around his energy field. And once you establish this connection, go to your heart. And when you ask, first of all, ask, does Dylan, and Kim, I'd like you to not project your thoughts, please. Don't project anything anymore. Sit back, relax, and begin to feel, is Dylan open to our help? What do you feel? If you feel resistance, then he is resistant. If you feel fear, then he is fear. But the question is very specific. Is he open? Is he okay with us helping him? How does it feel? He's open. What do you feel? He feels very lost, he's very afraid, he's very confused, but he's tiny bit open. He's a little bit open. You see, he's saying, okay, I guess, but he's got his head under the cover, so to speak, right? So that's he's not quite sure, but he's kind of willing. He's like kind of saying, well, try it, and then I'll see if I like it, kind of a thing. All right? So as we now know that this person who is not present is allowing us in, at least as a test, we go to a heart center and then we ask, what is the root cause for all these physical problems? What is the root cause? What do you feel? Where do we need to begin to find the root cause? When you are very clear, what What is the root cause? Very good. All right, so he's feeling alone. He's feeling not connected. Self-punishment, guilt. Yes. He's also, who else saw a problem with his father? A huge sense of rejection, confusion, but to me the biggest word is betrayal from the father. A sense of all of these feelings that you're mentioning, the disconnection, the sadness, being alone, being confused. If you keep going deeper, you guys, which you're right on, all of these are the tiny little feelings inside the bubble. But all of these feelings, confused, abandoned, disconnected, all of that, it creates one belief system that is, I feel betrayed by my father. Who got that? Resentment towards the father, abandonment, correct. So, when there are if you are not clear on the belief system the way I have just spelled it out, then you can just begin with the feeling. And as you release the first feeling, then the second one comes in. You see? Now, he is not here. We're going to talk about surrogate healing later. But what you will do is you will ask Kim for now to speak for him. So we will talk about surrogate healing in the next class. So we pretend that Dylan is actually, or Kim is speaking for Dylan. So Kim, repeat after me. I ask and intend.
I ask and intend.
To release my deep, deep resentment.
To release my deep, deep resentment.
Disappointment.
Disappointment.
And disconnect.
And disconnect.
Regarding my father.
Regarding my father.
From every cell in my physical body.
From every cell in my physical body.
I ask and intend.
I ask and intend.
To release my sense of being abandoned.
I ask and intend to release my sense of being abandoned.
And betrayed.
And betrayed.
By my father.
By my father.
Who's not there for me.
Who's not there for me.
Who has abandoned me.
Who has abandoned me.
Since I was a child.
Since I was a child.
Breathe in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Now, I don't believe it's a physical abandonment. I feel it's an emotional abandonment. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it's almost like he's got the belief that he's been waiting for his father to help him through life, basically, and his father simply has not been there for him. So it's almost like he's self-punishing himself. He's putting himself, is isolating himself in his own world. You guys who said that, you're right on. And basically self-sacrificing, self-punishing. Very good. So we're going to finish off with that. So focus, it's a lot on the chest and also in the head, like in the sinuses and skull and things like that. Did you say he has sinus problems or headaches?
Migraines.
Oh, there you go. Okay. And also he needs to change his diet. He needs to... I'll tell you more about that later, but his diet is adding to this problem. But let's focus on his sinuses, folks. And Kim, repeat after me. I ask and intend.
I ask and intend.
To release my need and belief.
to release my need and belief
that I need to punish myself,
that I need to punish myself,
to suffer, self-sacrifice,
self-sacrifice,
in order to deal with this disconnect
in order to deal with this disconnect
with my Father.
with my Father.
I am now choosing to let go
I am now choosing to let go
of this whole story,
of this whole story,
the whole drama aspect of the story,
the whole drama aspect of the story,
from every cell in my physical body,
from every cell in my physical body,
and replace it with a new energy and belief,
and replace it with a new energy and belief,
that I can focus on something else
that I can focus on something else
and begin to create something completely different
and begin to create something completely different
and fun for me.
and fun for me.
Breathe in, exhale. So since the client is not here, how do you feel? How do you know if you're done? How do you feel? Don't forget, what you feel is what he feels. Please tell me where you're feeling, not you, Kim, but everybody else. Is he totally done? Of course not, but release, yeah. There's more work, of course, but where is he now? Much lighter, freer, a lot more free. There's a lot more, there's more in the heart. Of course, we're not finished. Obviously, we only did one release, can you imagine? But there's more space, there's an opening, there's lighter, he's lighter. Yes, much lighter. Okay, so now he has room to grow. He can move, whereas before he was really going in one direction, that I need to continue to self-sacrifice, self-punish. But at least now we brought him back. We took that stuff out and we changed it to, wait a minute, I don't have to do this. I could do something else. And this is where he is. Does it mean he's totally done? Of course not. But we brought him back to a new juncture that allows him to now take a new direction. All right? Okay, folks, so we are past the time today, but I think this was important. And I hope you've enjoyed today's class. Just you see how it goes. You have to continue practicing. And as questions come up, as things come up, and you say, I know how to resolve this, I will put it in my contract, and you will see how this will become a very, very powerful program in your consciousness, and your healing will become very clear. All right, we're going to wrap it up here. So thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to connecting with you.